Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Well, I want to tell you about the Galaxy Guide numero 5 today. I mentioned in early videos where I talked about how Vorin Naal, who is basically our main character in the Galaxy Guides, is doing interviews with a lot of people. And so he's going around, he's a rebel historian who's just interviewing certain people. I already told you there's a little short in there where he interviews Rhys, or who he thinks is Rhys, and who I'm telling you probably wasn't. Just a guy looking to get a free drink in exchange a bogus story for. Well, there are a lot of other short tales in the Galaxy Guide. Now remember, West End Games, which I still will sing their praises forever, they had the best role-playing books ever. Even when they were just guides to the movies, they felt like, hey, let's put in a little short story here, a little 1 or 2 page or half-page story to, you know, make things flow along. It breaks up the monotony of reading out of a dictionary, which is basically what you're doing here. So the first one, and I don't know of an author for any of these, so it could be the editor, could have been someone at West End Games who just didn't get credit, wrote it but didn't get credit for it. Anyway, they're very short, so that may also be the reason why they didn't get credit for it. They probably just wrote it on their desk. It took them like 2 minutes or something. But the first one's called Employment Task. Basically, Effet Mon is telling Vorin about how Jabba would test out, you know, the test he would run on guards. You know, if you want to be one of Jabba's personal bodyguards, you had to go through a test here. And the test basically just shows how cruel and vindictive or evil, I guess, Jabba was, and how mean he was to his employers. I don't know. The next one is called the Pit of Carkoon. Vorin Naal actually visits the Sarlacc pit, and he's looking around. He maybe sees a blast. He sees a piece of Boba Fett's armor. He's kind of confused as what happened here. He's notating everything he's taking notice of. Of course, it's hinting that Boba Fett has escaped. And I believe Vorin doesn't come to that conclusion. He just says, hey, it's really funny. I found this piece of Boba Fett's armor. That's weird. What's it doing here? There's a big blast here. You know, I mean, Columbo, he ain't, but he's just a historian, just making the details as he sees it, basically going back to the scene of the crime, so to speak. And the last one is called The Pit. Now, this one is actually really good. This one has Luke telling Vorin about an old story about when he, Cammy, Fixer, and Biggs were flying around Mos Eisley goofing off and came across a Sarlacc. Now, you know me, I love stories about these characters, Cammy, Fixer, and Biggs, because there aren't that many. I mean, Biggs has a few maybe, and then secondly under him, Fixer would have a few, 1 or 2, but Cammy is basically non-existent in the expanded universe. And yeah, how many stories can you tell about a couple of farm kids who live in a podunk planet, you know, and they're going off having their mini adventures? I'm sure it won't be that exciting, and obviously they're not, because Luke says how boring it is on Tatooine. But every once in a while, you know, even farm kids get in trouble and they got a good story to tell, and so Luke is telling that story, and I was happy to read it because Cammy, Fixer, and Biggs were in it, and that made it worth my time as well. Now, I do want to talk about just one more, I guess. I'll give you one more, and this is from Galaxy Guide number 5, called Gambler's Run. Basically, it's about Lando and Neum and Nub. Hello, combine those two words together. But they're flying around during the Battle of Endor, and they're having to dodge a few TIE fighters. This is before they get into the Death Star. And hey, it's Lando, right? It's got to be good if it's Lando. I really do enjoy the Galaxy Guides. They have first off, for information purposes, it's really good. But if you want to read these, you can actually get some little short stories and glean some did you know little one-off knowledge in there that kind of expands your knowledge of what happened around the movies. And for that reason, I liked it. I'm ashamed to say that when I first got them, those particular Galaxy Guides I skipped over because it was about the movie. I was like, well, I don't want to know. I've already seen the movie. I don't need to know anything else. Well, then, of course, I went back and said, well, I can know the technical things about the movie, I guess. And as I was going back through them, first off, I was impressed. They gave a lot of extra knowledge of stuff happening, particularly that ties directly to the movie. And then on top of that, they gave these little nuggets, these little short stories that just add more flavor and enhance the movie, in my opinion. So, and you can get them pretty cheap. In fact, I want to say they even sold all 3 Galaxy Guides that had all 3 movies in them. They all sold them in their own little trade paperback. I can't remember which number that is, but you can get that, and those are really cheap. Actually, the Galaxy Guides themselves are super cheap and super easy to find online. So if you're a fan of the movies, if you're a fan of the expanded universe, you want to know a little bit more about the characters and what went on in the movies, those are great guides. Those Galaxy Guides are great to get. You want to collect them all, that's fine. But if you just want the ones with the movies, to be honest, they're really good. That's where I'm getting all these short stories from. All right, folks, that's all the time I have for now. See you next time with another video.